11 o'clock, we can stay back for another half an hour. Um, there was one point which I wanted to mention as part of this topic interview tips for business analysts, and that point was uh, have continuous learning, right? So let's say you get an interview call today and your interview is scheduled for tomorrow. If you think that you will be able to learn about business analysis or you will be able to prep for the interview in just one day, that is not going to happen, right? Be let's all be practical. uh, there are another cases where the person thinks that I'll prepare for the interview and then I'll start applying. Believe me, that day will never come. Yeah, you will never complete your prep. So what you need to do is you need to run things in parallel while you are applying for different companies. In parallel, you will have to spare some time on daily basis to prep for interview as well. You never know when you will get an interview call. It could be 1 month from now, it could be even 2 months from now, right? But you are going to get interview calls. You might get many interview calls as well the moment you upload your resume on any of the portals. So be ready, so there is nothing like be ready. You will never be ready for facing an interview, right? What you have to do is uh, continuously upgrade yourself, continuously increase your learning. So we are asking questions on this platform. Why we are doing so? Because we want to clarify certain things, right? We want to increase our learning, and that's the right attitude. So everyone needs to follow that attitude wherein we understand, we learn small topics on daily basis, and then we discuss those topics with our friends, with other people who are in this role, and then we get more clarity on those topics, right? Let's not cram everything one day before the interview, and let's not assume that we will be learning, the complete uh, BA role or all questions related to BA role in just one day. Yeah, it's a continuous journey. So every day spare some time, whatever time you can, 15 minutes, 30 minutes, 1 hour, depending on your availability and your other commitments, and devote that time to learn something new with regards to the interview that you are prepping for. And again, let's say you get a call, you appear for an interview, and you might get rejected, you might get selected as well, right? But do not let it reflect on you. Do not let it demotivate you. What you need to do is you need to take it as a learning, and right after the interview, give 5 minutes to yourself, think about all the questions they asked, think about how you answered them. Yeah, first note down all the questions they asked, then note down your responses, and do you yourself think that your response was good, or you could have articulated it better? Yeah. And was there any question that you were not able to answer? Why? What that topic is, or what that point was? How you could have answered it? Yeah. So spare some, after an interview, give yourself some time. Don't worry about whether you will get selected, or don't worry about whether you will get rejected, right? So take each interview as an opportunity itself to learn. So let's say in an interview, it was your first interview and you were not able to answer 50% of the things. After the interview, you note down all those 50% of the things, google them around, learn about them, so that by the time your next interview comes, you will know 75% of the things. 25% of the things might still be missing, right? So each interview is different. But take all the interviews as a learning opportunity. Do not let the word interview stress you out. Do not let the word interview rejection as your failure. There are hundreds of things that go behind the scenes which you are not aware of. So sometimes I've given interviews and I was very confident that yes, I'll get selected, but then something happened at the organization end, and the opportunity itself might get dropped, but that is not my fault, right? Being able to do a good interview or a bad interview is not my fault anyways. Even if I do good, it is not my fault. Even if I do bad, it is not my fault. What we have to understand is I'm giving interview so that I can learn, I can improve myself. Yeah. So keep the stress out of, at least from the interview space, because if you are in stress, even if you know things, you might not be able to articulate them well. If you are in stress, you might not be able to answer, even the things that you know. So don't think of interview as a stressful activity, and you can only keep stress out of interview if you are not cramming things up in the last minute, like the way we used to do in our exams. If you are doing a continuous learning, right, so then interview will not be a stress. Just think of it as an opportunity to uh, you know understand where you are, how much you have improved in your learning. Does that make sense?
Yeah, Shipra. Thanks for your words. It will really motivate us.
Yeah, so that was really one point which I definitely wanted to talk about. uh, yeah, continuous learning is the key. It's not one day activity, and one day results does not reflect on you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So so there are there are many things that happen behind the scenes. So let's say a project was supposed to come, and people start looking for BAs, developers, testers, for an upcoming project, because once the project comes, they will not get time to recruit, right? So they start looking for people upfront, and then the project itself goes from that company. So the opening shuts down. So even if they have interviewed a candidate, they just do not respond to the candidate. Yeah, HRs are doing a very bad job in usually, that they do not inform the person that the reason why they are getting rejected. And it is very difficult for even the interviewers to give a particular reason to the client or to the interviewee. But yes, sometimes the project does get shut down, and that position itself closes down. So that could be one reason for your rejection. Sometimes the interviewer, him or herself, might not be in a mood to spare you out, right? So they might themselves be stressful, and that stress will come in your interview. And no matter whatever you tell them, they are basically not in a mood to listen. Yeah, though they should not do that. They should give respect to the their interviewer role. But you never know. Sometimes there are other people who have given interview and who are at par with you. So sometimes they just do eeny meeny miny mo and select one of you. So do not do not let these things you know derail you from your interview journeys. Yeah.
Shipra, can I ask one unrelated question? I wanted to ask regarding location. I mean, let's